Time to lock in on some, buyout candidates. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Tuesday, live from the Xfinity Lounge. We are presented by Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365, along with Derek Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, the president of basketball operations. All of you, I got to put you to work today in figuring out if any of these names interest you at all as far as a roster pickup in the buyout market for the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll get to some other things a little bit later, some news and notes as well. But we do need to start off with some buyout candidates. First, we should probably mention that they did add a two-way player that was actually mentioned as a player that we were going to discuss as a buyout candidate. But Adam Aronson from Kyle's old spot, Philly Voice, broke some news earlier that the Sixers were, in fact, adding Dalen Terry, a lottery pick, a first-round pick, from the Chicago Bulls a few years ago, traded at the deadline to New York to New Orleans, and then New Orleans waiving him. He was picked up on a two-way deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers later on have announced the agreement on the two-way deal. The two-way spot opened up because of Dominic Barlow's standard contract. So right now it's Jabari Walker, Dalen Terry, and Marjon Beauchamp as the two-way players on the Sixers roster currently for the remainder of the season. So we'll see how that all plays out. But Dalen Terry, a name that we did have as a buyout candidate. Now, you get him as a two-way player now. So let's start off with some other names that we'll see if the guys have any interest, if any of you have any interest in any of these players that are currently available right now. We should also mention that there are some players that we had discussed right around when the trade deadline ended, some players that we discussed as possible pickups. A few of those are already off the market, and we'll get to those a little bit later as well. But let's start off, Bree, with the guard position. Start off with one name that we have brought up, but in light of what we've seen from this team and some help there needed in the backcourt where your depth is not necessarily there anymore, let's begin with Lonzo Ball, formerly of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the now Utah Jazz, where it's reported that he will be let go by the Jazz. He has not been let go as of yet, but
look at those stats.
That's going to happen. 35 games played with the Cavs this past season, 4.6 points in 20 minutes, 4 boards, 4 assists, shooting 27% from behind the three-point line for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have since picked up James Harden, Dennis Schroeder, and Keon Ellis, and as a result, Lonzo Ball moved on to the Utah Jazz. Jazz have no need for him, although they are kind of trying to tank, so maybe those numbers help out.
In his current form, he would help out
yes,
their mission.
Would. So, Kyle, let's start with you. You said it, oh boy. We discussed last night post-game. Maybe a lot of people didn't see it because they were asleep. Sixers get blown out.
Boy, am I jealous.
And Kyle Lowry run out on the floor. Didn't have enough guards really to with Quentin Grimes down because of the illness. You say, oh boy, are there many better options than Lonzo Ball, though?
So I sent a tweet in the Discord yesterday from, I believe it is a Cavs reporter or a Cavs blogger over at Fear the Sword, Tony Pesta, who said, Alonzo Ball three-pointer should automatically end the game like catching the golden snitch in Quidditch. So a Harry Potter reference to open this segment here for me, which is to say that the people who had to watch him every day in Cleveland were so convinced that he would never make a shot that they probably would have taken anybody in the NBA over Lonzo Ball. That's why they got rid of him, that they paid to get off the contract. And situation can change things, change of scenery, whatever it might be. But
Let's be real. Lonzo probably wasn't taking all that many contested threes. I don't know how much situation is going to change it.
So his role will be the same here. He's going to be a guy who is not asked to create. He's a connective passer, always has been, was never, even when he had functional lower extremities, a big-time downhill guy. That was the big reason I was skeptical of him, even dating back to UCLA. And now he can't move as much. Now he's not as impactful as a defender. Now the playmaking is not as important or useful or team opening, we would say. So it just comes down to, can he hit shots? And he is not hitting shots. So if you want to have him on the roster, that would have to change. If your argument for him is he's not Kyle Lowry, I guess that's a credible argument you could make. But I cannot overstate how bad he's been this year. And I said this during our 2-hour deadline show. I think the buyout market is largely worthless. We're going to do a show on these guys, and there are a couple guys
you always yell at me for spoiling, like this show is.
But it says a lot that Lonzo Ball is one of the quote unquote big names on the buyout market, because he has flat out sucked this year. That's one of the faces of the buyout market, and he has been awful. I cannot overstate how bad he has been this year. And anyone who is like, they got to go out and get him, he changes things.
No, you're living in 2019.
Yeah, you are not watching the Lonzo Ball this year.
Kyle highlighted the fact that every time he shot a three, you didn't think it was going to go in. And that's fair. Part of the reason you have to highlight that, he made on average one shot inside the arc every 3 games. One shot every 3 games. This is a guy playing 21 minutes per night. He made 1 2-point shot every 3 games. So his entire scoring is on that 3-point shot that he shot 27% on. Look, Lonzo, before his body betrayed him, really good defender. Really good defender. Could push the ball incredibly well. Very creative. Even had a couple years where he was shooting pretty darn good. Like before his injury, he had revamped his form and he was shooting high 30s, low 40s from 3. He had a heck of a career in front of him. That player's gone. It's just gone. And he's a name. He's at a position you need. But he has sucked this year. There's no other way to put it.
I mean, only in name is the appeal there, because he's Lonzo Ball. He was a number 2 overall pick in that draft that was looked to be, of course, very top heavy, with where you were debating, should he even be selected higher and how's he going to fit in the league, the things that he does. But going to Cleveland, I actually thought he would be pretty good. And I know he only played 35 games a season ago, but Chicago was what Chicago was, and it seemed like everybody needed to get out of there to get a fresh start. And going to Cleveland, team that was the top of the Eastern Conference, having the other players that were around him, having talent around him, thought it would work out. And then it didn't. And when you watch their team, and you watch the basketball games, they were losing, but even when he was out there on the floor, it was like, all right, this is just not the same player anymore. And he goes to the Jazz, and as we just said in the open, that they're actively tanking. They're sitting their stars in the fourth quarter. They're not playing at all, and they don't even want to keep him. Now, look, they also want to evaluate Isaiah Collier, which you should be doing, and giving him a long run, because if he's going to be part of your future, you want to see exactly what it looks like at that guard position. And they have some other guards that they want to get a good look at that are younger, that are healthier than Lonzo Ball, so no need to keep him on that roster. And they have enough veterans that can be the veteran presence that you have in the locker room where they don't need him. But with it, when we look at all of these guards, and we'll run through all these names again, Dalen Terry was also on this list. And as Kyle, we were thumbs down because he's on a 2-way.
Fine on a 2-way.
You got him there.
Take the flyer.
But we were also had him on the list just as, do you have to look at him as a standard contract guy because of what he may do as a guard position, as a first-round pick for the Chicago Bulls? Numbers very similar to Lonzo Ball. Not great. And although the three-point shooting is much better at 41%, but not on a high volume of those shots. So for Lonzo Ball, I guess my question to you guys, Derek, I'll start with you, because Jared McCain is not here. He's not coming back. I see Solomon in the chat saying, campaign or we riot. And what are you looking for from that fourth guard?
By the way, campaign who hasn't played NBA basketball this year.
He's overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing overseas doing this thing. What are you looking for in the fourth guard at this? Because of where they are, none of them are going to be Jared McCain.
Wave that towel, baby. That's what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for from that fourth guard?
Get the clipboard out.
I mean, I'd like somebody
to
be tall enough to defend and not be a bozo. If you get any more than that, which I guess theoretically that's Lonzo,
So that's why I'm asking, because as Kyle pointed out, the market is bare.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at this fourth spot, how many minutes do you want him to play if he plays? And what else are you looking for when he does play?
I mean, I would say I'm not focused. I think the Sixers guard depth is a problem. Let's be 100% clear about that. Like we saw last night where Kyle Lowry is getting actual minutes. And
that was just last night, though.
Yes, but you are like, you are one player being out of the rotation away from this getting pretty ugly pretty quickly. So I would love to say they should go out and get a guard, but I need one that can actually play. And like, it's either someone that's going to be 6'2" and can't defend, or someone like Lonzo who's tall but's lost his athleticism and can't shoot and can't really defend anymore. He's just tall. There's every one that we're going to go through is pretty fundamentally flawed to the point where like, and Kyle's been making this point in the Discord, if you get an injury to like VJ or Quentin, or they're out of the rotation or lineup for whatever reason, you just play Kelly, and we're talking about playoffs now because obviously, PG is going to be out for a while still. You just play Kelly and Paul Moore. Like you don't actually play the person that you sign. You just increase everyone else's workload. I would love for somebody to be here and be like, all right, well, at least this is a break in case of emergency guard. I just think every guard that's becoming available, I don't think they can actually hang and give you any real value.
Yeah, but when we're talking about guards, it is strictly get them through the end of the regular season in an emergency situation, because any guard that you add to this team, I have 0.00001% belief that they'll do anything in a playoff game. You can't say it's absolute zero because crazy stuff happens. You throw a guy on the floor and you have a crazy campaign moment, for example. We saw that years ago against the Knicks.
Raja Bell, baby.
Yeah, like you never know what can happen. But in terms of so we do have to separate it, because I think there is a guy who's more of a shooting guard, in fact, maybe more of a 3 at this point of his career, who I would have some interest in as an end of bench, break glass in case of emergency guy. But there is a belief from some people, and I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, but my belief is that adding another 6'2" and under guard does absolutely nothing for this team. I fundamentally don't care about a quote unquote traditional point guard, because the way this offense runs, the offense is going to be in the hands of Joel Embiid in the middle of the floor. The offense is going to run through Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and Paul George. And I know that Paul is out for a while, but on the average night, the 3 first guys that I mentioned, they get the ball, and I don't need someone to dribble the ball past half court and then just give Joel Embiid the ball. Like that's just not a role that I care about. It's not an archetype that I think matters to this team. If you could tell me there was a stretch 4 type that's out there, talk to me. If there's a switchable wing that you can get, that's why I have some interest in converting Boucher after what we saw in his first game with the Sixers. I'll entertain that. Or if there's a taller shooter, sure, let's talk about that, and we'll get to that. There are a couple guys I think we're going to talk about today that fit that mold. But I don't think because they had McCain on the roster that with McCain going out, you're like, man, I really need another guard on the team. McCain was useful because he had a unique skill set and he was an upside bet for the future. Him going out, to me, does absolutely nothing in terms of what I think they need to fill out the roster with. And we've talked about this over and over again. No more short guards. I'm out. I'm done with them. Get me guys who can switch, rebound, help their actual problems. I don't need a traditional point guard. Don't even want to think about it.
So I agree that you don't need a traditional point guard. I do think they need just more fundamental ball handling and decision-making and creativity. I thought that before they traded Jerry McCain. It certainly hasn't gotten better since. So I would love to find someone from this point guard group, not even point guard, we can call it point guard, combo guard, 2 guard, doesn't matter. Anyone that can handle the ball and make decent decisions, I'm interested in. I just think everyone that we're going to bring up in this list that sort of fills that role is just not good enough.
All right, let's get to the other candidates on the other side. We're going to take our first pause. We'll start with the wing. When we get back, discuss some wings and see where things go from there. If you have any interest in those players as well. The buyout market, not sexy at all, but should they be in on it because of the open roster spots? Marjon Beauchamp, impressed enough, as Kyle just pointed out, maybe you go there. But until then, let's discuss these candidates on a Tuesday daytime show. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by Bet365. All right, folks, it's gotten a little cold outside and those joints are tightened up. The back is aching a little bit and you don't want pain or injury disrupting your routine. Getting the right care shouldn't be a hassle either. Rothman Orthopedics, they make it easy with convenient office locations throughout the region, plus walk-in and urgent care centers when you need help fast. And I got to tell you, proud to tell you that Rothman proudly serves the communities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and walk-in centers as well. Whether it's a new injury or something that's been bothering you for a while, expert orthopedic care is right around the corner. Schedule your appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Don't let all of your joints freeze up on you. Get it checked out so you're not experiencing any pain and you can get helped out at Rothman Orthopedics. Your mobility, you got to get it right. Our mission.
Next up, we want to tell you about Mars Men. Because, guys, we've all felt it. Once you hit your mid-30s, suddenly everything that used to be easy isn't. And we barely ever talk about it, but it needs to be discussed. It hit me like a brick wall right around the age of 34. Same workouts, same diet, but I felt like I was moving through mud. Because here's the thing, most men start losing testosterone right around the age of 30 and lose about 1% every year after that. Here's what Mars Men does. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Mars Men includes no synthetics and uses no needles, just real ingredients that help optimize energy, focus, and strength. And Mars Men has a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that our show sent you.
Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Tuesday. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree, all of you, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's get to the wings here as we talk about Lonzo. Seems like that's the consensus on a no for Lonzo Ball, including in the chat. Saw somebody say, oh, there it is. Davon says Lonzo is bum juice at this stage of his career. So that's a no right
Tough
there.
look.
So bum juice it is for Lonzo Ball. Let's go to the wing. Let's head to a former Sixer, former Blue Coat, Haywood Highsmith. Yes. Meniscus surgery, hasn't played all season. These stats.
Well, luckily, guys who come back from meniscus surgery look great right away.
These stats are all from last season with the Miami Heat. Traded to the Brooklyn Nets, has not played all season because of the meniscus surgery. You see the stats there, 6.5, 3 boards, 1.5 assists, shooting 38% from behind the three-point line. All right, Derek, we'll start with you on the wing. 74 games played last season before this meniscus surgery. Sure. Let's talk about Haywood Highsmith.
So everyone will look at it and say, like, well, he hasn't played that year. That's a negative. My counter to that is almost everyone else that we're talking about has played this year and has proven that they no longer can. At least here, you have the uncertainty over him not playing all year. I view that as a positive. I'm looking to be optimistic. No, look, I think, okay, so the meniscus surgery is a not great starting point. I agree. But if there's anyone else I truly believed in this group, I probably wouldn't push for Haywood. And he is probably, if he gets back to where he was, I understand the if. I understand that we have had some problems with menisci of late. But if he gets back to where he was... Is it
menisci or menisci or meniscuses?
If he gets back to where he was, he's probably the best non-big defender on the buyout market. And he can hit threes. He's my guy.
I hate that I agree with you because it's like it really just shows exactly how dire this situation is. The fact that I was like, man, I wonder if they should sign Pat Connaughton. And then he came off the market and you're like, damn, that was one of the only guys that has even a chance to play NBA rotation minutes for a decent team right now. But yeah, so the downside is, as we've seen with several different players over the years, coming back from meniscus surgery right away is always a little bit of an adventure. How is he going to move laterally? And that's with McCain. the meniscus stuff you're worried about because of his size. Can he get to and finish at the basket and yada, yada, yada? With Highsmith, I think the bigger concern would be the defensive end, where he's got to bring some value on that end of the floor because he is more of a spot-up type of player. He'll hit you with a back cut every once in a while. He'll attack a closeout. Not that he's like particularly proficient there, but he is a classic spot-up, defend 2s and 3s type of player. And if he can't move and he's not a reliable switch guy, then you're just down to, is he going to hit enough shots to stay on the floor? And he's kind of in that Justin Edwards-ish territory as a player. We've all watched Justin play this year. It's been not great, is how I would characterize it. But of the available options, or of the expected options, we should say, because we'll probably talk about a guy or two who sounds like they may not get bought out, Highsmith, I think, is probably the best option. But that does mean, depending on the team, he will probably have a bunch of suitors if they believe that he's healthy enough to get in the rotation. And he'll probably have his pick of at least a few teams to go to. Will he choose the Sixers? I don't know. I would probably guess no, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what his immediate priority is going to be.
Again, just to reinforce how bad the buyout market is, we're hoping that a guy who hasn't played all year chooses us.
Yep. That's where we're at.
A guy who hasn't played all year and really can't like dribble either. Like, he's a catch and shoot shooter who plays defense, occasional closeout, but for the most part, he's not creating anything. And you're still hoping that he chooses you.
Yeah, I think I have another one that we have not talked about that I added to the list. We can talk about him later, but I think the player that I would bring up later is probably my choice over Highsmith, but Highsmith is in that top 2, top 3 of potential, the guys that are actually available and free right now, so you can go after them. Highsmith is the prototypical player that we're talking about right now. I do agree with Kyle as far as you don't need a guard, but you do need somebody that can handle the basketball, as Derek pointed out, with the ball skills to just to be able to make simple things. And when you watch them with the Miami Heat, their stuff is just simply a lot of cutting, a lot of movement, and the passing, it has to be right in order for that offense to work. And for him to put the ball on the floor, you just need to be able to take 2 or 3 dribbles to make the right pass within the flow of the offense and cut, as Miami does, if and when you are on the floor with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George to make all of that stuff work. Now, the meniscus plays a part in that. Can he cut? Can he do all those things to get to the spots with need be to make that actually happen for the Philadelphia 76ers? And then, as the guys pointed out, and Daryl Morey said it last week at the press conference, they're going to have some suitors from other places, and he has to choose Philadelphia or those other places. I do wonder from those other spots how much playing time actually matters, because there's a pathway for him to play maybe 10 minutes on this team until the playoffs. And who knows?
Especially with Paul George out,
Yes.
a guy like this, I think, could walk into a role if there's mutual interest.
And because he has playoff experience, could he crack into that lineup for, it may not be the 10 to 15 or 10 to 13, but maybe somewhere 7 to 10 where Nick Nurse can find a few minutes for Haywood Highsmith in a playoff scenario. So he would be very high on my list.
No, and that's a good point, because playing time is always a key consideration for where these players want to sign, because they are playing for a next contract. And there's probably nobody in this buyout market who needs playing time more than Highsmith, because he needs to be able to show coming into free agency that he's back from his injury. So with Paul, if there is I can't believe I'm about to say this. If there is a silver lining to the Paul George suspension, well, first of all, it's that Josh had an easy time getting under the tax. But the one for us is that it might make the spot a little more intriguing for someone like Highsmith to finish out the regular season.
So here would be my question with Highsmith. Based on the exactly one game we saw of MarJon Beauchamp, is Highsmith a bigger priority than Beauchamp, given that Beauchamp is at least like, we have some confidence that he's healthy and is not going to have to like prove that over the next month and a half. The question marks being what they are with Beauchamp, which is mainly, do you trust the shot? Because he's shot in the G League, but has not necessarily shot at the pro level. How would you weigh Beauchamp versus the returning Highsmith, given that Highsmith, I think, has more of a proven resume on a good team.
Well, I think you can throw Jabari Walker in there too, because they're going to have, when these 10 days expire, they're going to have 2 open roster spots.
I mean, Highsmith's shot is way better. We've seen it. Beauchamp, not so much. Health is a big deal here. When they go through his medicals and put him through whatever training, workout that he might have before, if they ask for a workout before signing him and going through all that, I think that'll tell a lot of if they feel like he passes everything through whatever workout they put him through before they bring him in here on a 10-day. Or does Highsmith just flat out saying, I'm not doing a workout. Mm-hmm. I'm not asked to do this over here in City X, so I'm not going to do it here. I wonder if that plays into it. I think I would still – it's tough because the Beauchamp health and athleticism and the youth, it does appeal to me, even though he doesn't have the playoff experience like you would want from Haywood Highsmith if he's called upon to fill that 7 to 13 minutes that we talked about. I think I lean Highsmith over Beauchamp, but we've only seen one game, even though we haven't seen any games of Highsmith, and it's tricky for me. It's tricky for me in that way as you ask that question.
Well, because here's the thing, right? Beauchamp,
and the shooting is important too.
Highsmith has not played this year. Beauchamp has not played real NBA minutes on a consistent basis in a couple years, so we're judging whatever progress he's made or hasn't made as a shooter on results in a league where I've said it on the show. I believe almost nothing statistically from the G League because everybody is out for themselves to a certain degree. The defense can be all over the place. They're actively experimenting with different concepts down there, some of these organizations. So I don't really know what to make of it. He's shooting around average in the G League this year, like 34, 35%, if I remember correctly. If he shot 35% and you got what you're getting out of him in terms of energy, athleticism, defense, I would want Beauchamp on this roster, but he's shown nothing over his career to this point that says he's going to be trustworthy as a shooter. So with shooting being at such a premium for this team specifically, I would probably lean Highsmith ever so slightly, but I don't feel great about it. I'll put it that way.
What if, because you have to make a decision on Highsmith now. And I agree, if Highsmith gets back to where he was physically before the injury, I think he's a clear pick. What if you sign Highsmith now, don't convert either of the other two ways in Walker and Beauchamp until you give Highsmith a chance? If you feel like Highsmith can't come back physically, convert Beauchamp. If you can, maybe convert Walker. So you can't play Walker now, but you can play Beauchamp.
I don't hate it. The thing that I would say to that is it'd be a really rough move to look at Jabari Walker and just have him sit there and be like, hey, maybe we're going to convert you.
It doesn't even look right now that he's sitting there in street clothes.
I feel bad for the position that Jabari is in, where he's done everything that he can do. It's been a regular member of the rotation on nights that they need him. No complaints, good locker room guy, yada, 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 yada. So to let him just sit there on the bench and rot because you're giving somebody a tryout and you're like, hey, maybe we'll throw somebody else in there. I think you kind of need to make a decision on him sooner than later. So I hear you, and I think it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, but it'd be the words I want to use, I can't say it for our partners on
It'd be messed up.
It would be messed up. That'd be a nice way to put it, Devon.
Beauchamp's playoff, I knew he played some playoff games with Milwaukee, so I wanted to just check quickly. 2023 playoffs, he played in 2 games, brief action, 2.5 points. Overall, 4 games in 2024 against the Pacers in that matchup that they had. 3 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. Overall, those are his stats. So not the same experience as Haywood Highsmith when it comes to the postseason, even though he has appeared in a couple of games with the Milwaukee Bucks in the past. So just wanted to make sure we brought that up just so people knew about his playoffs, and there's not much there in terms of Beauchamp's playoffs overall. Jabari Walker sitting in street clothes these last couple of games has looked wrong because he's done everything that they have asked of him all season. Look, you know what you're getting into when you sign a 2-way, but he also did the work to warrant a roster spot, a standard contract with this basketball team. So we'll see how all of that plays out. When we come back, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. We can go to the break. Well, real quick, the reason why this is important is like, let's say in a world you sign Boucher or you sign Highsmith, sign Beauchamp, realize Highsmith's coming back. Maybe then you want to convert Walker instead. You can basically only do 2 moves. You only have enough room under the tax to convert 2 end of season prorated minimums.
Quack, quack.
So whoever you pick now has to be the one that you're sticking through with the rest of the season, unless Josh Harris magically changes course and decides he's paying the luxury tax for Marjon Beauchamp, which I think has about a slim and none chance of happening.
All right, let's take our second break. When we come back, we'll get into some more of these candidates. We also have to get into the stretch a little bit later for the 76ers presented by Rothman. We'll do the stretch later. We'll get into some more of these candidates, run through these players and talking about who would fit, who doesn't make sense. Breaking it all down right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, everybody's got their favorite hard tee. Maybe you're just trying to get through a late night Sixers game. You're going out on the town, whatever it might be. You know what you're turning to. But have you ever turned the can around to read what's in it? You can't, because they won't tell you while they hide what's inside. Crooked Tea is bragging about what they're giving you, which is real USDA organic tea from our friends at Crooked Tea. That means there's real flavor with 0 sugar. There is no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So the next time you're at the store, you're out on the town, I need you to flip the can, and if you can't find the ingredients, put it back. Grab a Crooked Tea with 0 sugar, real tea, fully transparent. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real. You don't need to drink the fake stuff when you have Crooked Tea right there in your hand, available everywhere. Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store near you.
Do you really want Joel Embiid returning punts? Absolutely not. We already know what's going on with his injury history. So you don't want him doing that, and the same should be said for all of your businesses especially. No, it's not worth the risk, time, or money. You keep your stars focused on what they do best, and the same idea applies to your business. For small and mid-sized businesses, competing with the bigger companies isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. With competition heating up, you can't afford to fall behind. AI goes way behind ChatGPT, and it gets overwhelming very fast. That's why having a trusted guide like Togo matters. Togo streamlines your operations by handling customer service, accounting, order management, logistics, admin, data entry, and even complex multi-step processes as well. Every engagement starts with free process mapping, and Togo doesn't bill a dime until real work begins. Program starts as low as $1,000 a month and are built to scale without breaking the bank. Visit Harness Togo, that's TOGO.com, and mention PHLY for a free operational assessment. All right, back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Make sure you sign up to become a diehard member. AllPHLY.com. Everybody sign up. AllPHLY.com. Become a member here. Joining us here with the community that we've built. Read all the great stories from Kyle and Derek on the Sixers. Eagles with their offseason. Certainly Charlie with the Flyers, and everything going on with the Phillies right now as they get ready for spring training. Pitchers and catchers as they start to move those trucks down to Florida with all the equipment, man, and getting it ready for the baseball season.
We're on truck watch.
Always. How many bags of sunflower seeds, Kyle? AllPHLY.com.
0 for me, I'll tell you that.
AllPHLY.com to read all the stories that covering your favorite teams here in the area. All right, Kyle, let's get to some of the other familiar names that we've talked about, starting off with Chris Boucher, former Toronto Raptor, under Nick Nurse. 9 games with the Celtics this year after signing in the offseason. Only 9 games. And he's a career 33.6 3-point % shooter.
Sure.
Shot 13% in those 9 games.
Devon, you can go over
2.3.
all the stats you want. Kyle's about to end this conversation in 3 seconds.
Hey,
So-
I'm just for the people who are not able to watch it and they're only hearing it, I wanted to run the stats.
Yeah. So here's why they're not signing him. Nick Nurse hates him.
Fair.
Doesn't want to play him.
Also, he's been
Been
bad.
awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Like Bree put the stat up, 13% from 3, 32% from the field. Boston in a year where everyone expected them to be not bad, but certainly at the very least retool has been a huge surprise. And they're getting great performances out of all kinds of guys in the
Luke
rotation.
Garza.
Listen, man, like credit to those guys.
Yes.
It's been a great story if you don't hate the Celtics, which not a lot of those people in Philadelphia. But yeah, I think this is one where coach wouldn't play him or doesn't want to have him on the team. I would be shocked if they picked him up. I was shocked at the rumors that they were interested in him. And that was like pre-deadline. There was stuff like, oh, they might trade for, and I was like, trade? Sound like Soulja Boy yelling, Drake, on the Breakfast Club. Yeah, it's not happening. So I don't, well, I am already mentally moving on to other power forwards and front court guys.
We got some pushback in the chat thinking that there was a typo on the 13%. No, that's legitimate. He shot 13% from
He's good at the
range.
research.
Yes.
It's 13%. And look, he only played 9 games, so.
Yeah, it was only 2 for 15. But
yeah. But he's known as a shooter, with his time in Toronto.
Well, especially in Philly. Fans here think of him as a shooter because he never missed in those playoff runs.
Oh, McBride.
The Deuce McBride of the Great North.
All right, let's move on. That's a quick one. Quickie. On Khris Boucher, we move on and we go to former Sixer who's been on the move a lot since he left after Cleveland and after let's go to George Niang. Atlanta, Cleveland, traded to the Jazz, hasn't played this season, injury with his foot. And these stats are from a year ago, 79 games played with the Cavs and the Hawks, 10 points, 3.4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, shot 40% from three-point range in 21 minutes with both teams. And Cleveland, obviously, number 1 in the East. Before he was traded to Atlanta, he was getting some really good minutes there with the Hawks and a big part of their rotation. So since you moved on quickly from Boucher, let's go to George Niang.
Yeah.
As Music Lover says, yes,
we
to
all
George.
know the strengths and weaknesses here. George is not going to help you defensively, and he does not have enough or as much supporting defensive talent around him as the Sixers had previously, because Joel's not as good there, is not moving quite as well as when George was here. They don't have some of the other depth pieces. Paul is going to be out until late March. The argument for Niang is that he comes here and he brings something different at the front court spot, right? Where you bring him in, he's just bombing away from 3. And they lack shooting on this team. I get it. Anybody who's out on him, I 100% understand why, because you can't trust him defensively basically at all. But if it's just an argument for their other 4s are either non-shooters because they're not good or non-shooters in that they won't take shots, George is going to get shots up.
George will take shots.
And nobody minds. Just take the shot.
Exactly. Like, he has one job. It is to shoot threes, and he's very good at it. So that, to me, puts him on the short list. I don't think that it's like I'm really fired up. I'd be fired up to have George on the podcast, yes. Friend of the show, obviously. But you go into it knowing exactly what the limitations are. To me, if you make the decision that you don't want to convert Jabari Walker, then I think Niang becomes a real candidate, because you can't use both the last 2 on guys who are only power forwards. So it's a choice between, do you want the shooting or do you want the guy who has been a pretty consistent rebound toughness type guy on the interior?
Just need to know where things are, what the status of his foot is.
So here's my case for George. And he's not at the top of my list. I would have Highsmith ahead of him. I do think he can contribute in the regular season, like as an innings eater shooter. Playoffs, obviously, we know the defensive limitations, and with Joel having lost a step, I don't want him on the floor in the playoffs. But regular season, you could use some minutes. He'd be wildly entertaining. Like, we had somebody in Discord the other day saying, like, man, the moment he hits a corner 3 down 18, I'm going to be the first one in the stadium chanting MVP. It's like, no, you're not, because George will be chanting MVP. And he'll be chanting it in the face of the other team's bench. He is incredible to watch. I love that guy. And third, there is a non-zero chance we can get him on the podcast, and I think he'd be a great guest. So he is pretty high on my list.
And I need it for the entertainment purposes of what he said to Quentin Grimes when Quentin Grimes was going off at the end of the year.
Oh, that was really funny.
In Atlanta, and saying, you're only getting this opportunity because of Embiid and Maxey not playing. You will not be doing this when these guys are back on the floor. I need them as teammates to find out what that dynamic is like after that. George is the best.
Now, here's a funny concept to think about. George Niang and the Sixers help scheme.
Oh, God, no.
It's all about aggressive help middle. He might help initially. he is not getting back on that closeout to the shooter.
Do you remember at the start of last year when you had Kyle in the rotation and Gordon in the rotation and Reggie Jackson in the rotation, and they'd help and the other team would just shoot over him constantly? Yeah, George he's not thriving in that.
I don't think it's an archetype of player that Nurse would particularly value, but
he would bark back at Nurse and tell him he's wrong. Put me on the floor.
Listen, if nothing else, George Niang will make threes if he's available to play. That alone puts him on the short list. I agree. I think Highsmith, just because in theory he's a two-way guy, if he's healthy enough, would put him over Niang for me. But I would not rule Niang out. I put it that way. And I don't think he hasn't been bought out yet, right?
No.
This is still like
it's the hypothetical,
theoretical.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the Sixers' internal rankings, if I had to guess, that he's pretty high of the guys who are potentially available.
And I think the 2 stars would vouch for him as well.
Yes.
It feels like either get Highsmith and then you convert Walker, or you get Niang and then you convert Beauchamp. Like, it feels like those are the two. Like,
or maybe you could
I don't
get
wanna call
Niang
him-
and Beauchamp.
I don't want-
or not Niang and Highsmith is
Yeah.
not impossible.
I don't want to call that a high-level buyout outcome, but for the options in front of us, those seem like the 2 high-level paths.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just quickly, on the other side, we'll get to the last remaining candidates. There's one that the guys brought up already and it's part of the super chat that we're going to talk about, and 2 that I didn't tell the guys about that Bree and I put together. But before we do that, we want to let everybody know about the signed players, because Pat Connaughton, Kyle brought up a little bit earlier, he went back to Charlotte after being released. So Pat Connaughton is back in Charlotte as part of that team. And the other 2 that we brought up, Cam Thomas signed with the Bucks. Mike Conley.
Oh, Derek might have been the happiest man in America when Cam Thomas
No, I think
signed with a
Devon
team
was right
that
there
was
with me.
not the Sixers.
It's
Cam's-
funny because like Devon's like the hooper out of the 3 of us. Like, he wants bucket getters, and even he's like, keep Cam away.
Nah, not that. Mike
Not this
Conley
one.
is back to the Timberwolves as expected as well. So Dalen Terry on a two-way deal with the Sixers, Cam Thomas with the Bucks, and Mike Conley back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. When we come back, final segment, we will give you the remaining players, 1 that they've talked about, 2 that I have not mentioned to them yet. 1 I'm sure they're going to say no to, but I still want to do it for show purposes, and we will do that on the other side. Final segment, buyout candidates. It's the conversation here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, next up, we want to tell you about Xfinity and their 5-year price guarantee. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply.
We are officially into the new year, and it's time to make your homes work smarter, not harder. With a TrueMark Financial Home Equity Line of Credit, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever is next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your timeline. You start with a revolving line of credit, use only what you need, and when you are ready, you can lock in all or part of your balance at a fixed rate for predictable payments. You only pay interest on what you use, and as you pay it back, that credit becomes available again, no reapplying, no extra steps. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branches located to get started. That's locations, everybody. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938. Back here, final segment, PHLY Sixers podcast. Let's get to the remaining names. Let's start with the big name in the super chat first. Let's go there. Davon saying, if Middleton gets bought out, is that the best option for real? That's the one. So let's talk about Khris Middleton. Traded from Washington to Dallas in the Anthony Davis trade, averaging on the season 34 games played this year for Khris Middleton. And he, it's not the same Khris Middleton as you once knew, but he is Khris Middleton at 6'8", can still knock down shots, shooting 33%. He's a career, I believe, 37% three-point shooter on his career. Playing for Washington, not a lot of attempts as he once had, but still a guy that can knock down some shots for sure, especially in the smaller sample size for a team like the Philadelphia 76ers. So you look at him averaging 10 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, and shooting, as we said, 33% from behind the three-point line. Let's start there, Derek, with Khris Middleton. Not yet bought out, but if he is bought out, there were some reports that said he was staying in Dallas. As Kyle said, things could change. So, Khris Middleton.
Look, one of his nicknames is WD-40, which was given to him by a Pistons assistant coach during his rookie year. At this stage,
I thought that was a fake.
No, it actually is a real nickname.
One.
At this point, he's going to need some WD-40 for those knees to get through a playoff run.
And he's 34, by the way, for people.
34, but with a pretty bad history.
Younger
of
than all
injuries.
of us.
Well, yeah. I've had fewer, I don't know if this is true for Don. I've had fewer surgeries than Khris Middleton, though. So that's
true.
Part of the equation. He is, if not one, certainly top 2 on my list of buyout guys. Like, he's up there with Highsmith.
If it happens.
Yeah. Just because he's one where you look at the stats and the shooting splits, I do think he will shoot the ball better here than he has been.
Yes.
Like, I think he's a better than 33% three-point shooter. I think with the Sixers' ability to force double teams and hopefully get the ball moving, I think he can get some easier shots. I don't think he's going to hold up defensively. I don't think he's going to create the way he did earlier in his career, obviously, hence the WD-40. But, I mean, we just pretty much talked ourselves out of every other buyout candidate. He's got some big game experience. He's got a lot of playoff experience. I believe in the shot. I would be open to giving him a chance for sure. But he is one who, if he is bought out, I think is going to have quite a few suitors.
Yeah. And like what I would say is the reason he was in Washington, other than the salary matching stuff, is part of the reason you'd want him here. He's just an adult, right? He's someone who will come in and his body is not necessarily going to cooperate to the level that you want it to, but he'll put himself in the right positions. Offensively, the subtle stuff like when and where to relocate to if Joel's getting double teamed, finding the floor spots. He played off of a guy for a long time in Giannis who was a more downhill but is absorbing pressure. So playing in an offense where he's got to find his perfect spacing, where the pass is going to be. If the pressure's coming from here, this is where I have to get to. I trust that he'll find himself in the right spots. And I trust, as Derek said, I think he will make more shots here because it'll be a better offensive environment where guys are drawing more doubles, drawing more pressure in the middle of the floor. And I'd be okay with it. It doesn't sound, to your point, Devon, like I think Dallas might just keep him because Cooper Flagg, they want a professional environment for him there. They have not had a lot of backcourt help there for most of the season to the point that Flagg was being developed as a point guard early in the year. So Middleton down there is a floor spacer who opens things up in the middle of the floor for Flagg. I think there's probably some desire to keep him down there. But if he gets bought out, if you're talking about Middleton as an end of the bench type guy, is much different than having him as like a top 8 type player. So a tall shooter who I generally think is someone you can trust in terms of decision making, I'd be on board with it. I'm not jazzed up or fired up about it, but as far as buyout guys go, you could do worse. I agree, though. I would assume a lot of teams would have interest in him. And my guess, unlike a Highsmith, who is probably going wherever he can get the most minutes, I would guess Middleton is trying to ring chase if he's on the buyout market.
I just looked it up. It was Steve Hetzel, who was an assistant coach with the Pistons, and Middleton only played one season with the Pistons. But he said that his motor was too low, so he put a can of WD-40 in his locker.
There you go.
That's where the nickname came
Little
from.
did he know. Champion, a multi-time All-Star, All-NBA level player, where that motor, it remained the same throughout his entire career. The Pistons just were Pistons, and they didn't understand it at that time. He was a second-round pick, I remember, out of Texas A&M at that time. All right, I'm in on Khris Middleton. Longtime supporter of Khris Middleton from afar. Used to love having discussions where people would tell me Tobias Harris was better than Khris Middleton, and that was not the case. Just never. sorry.
Lon's like, just in case you forgot, I was right.
No. And he can get you, in a playoff game, that's a guy that can come in and play 12 minutes and probably give you 10 minutes because he can just hit shots. And it'd be valuable for this basketball team and the experiences there, of course. All right, let's get to the two that the guys don't know about.
Oh, the mystery candidates. I don't know if I'm intrigued or scared. Probably a little bit of both.
One's a guard, and then we'll get to the stretch. One's a guard. Doesn't fit the Kyle Neubeck height test.
Uh-oh.
Mega out.
Can score. Not like the Cam Thomas problems. I don't think. Let's go with Cole Anthony there, Bree.
So here's the thing.
So at least I got the out of the guys instead of.
Well, he's better than some of the other options.
Traded to the Suns, and he is apparently going to be waived by the Suns. 6.7 points.
Yep.
Played 35 games, 30% from three, which is low for him. 15 minutes a night, 2.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Derek.
It's low for him, but the shot has never, like he had one season where he shot like 36, 37%. For the most part, it's been low 30s his whole career. Mm-hmm. And he came into the league and he really struggled inside the arc, really struggled at the rim. I think he's gotten a little bit better at that as the time's gone by, but the shots just never come around, and he's 6'2". And it's kind of a shame because I actually think he's a pretty good effort on defense. Like I think the effort is there. It's just he is overmatched physically. And on this team, the combination of an unreliable outside shot and being overmatched physically next to Tyrese is a tough combination.
Could he play next to
I think he could play next to VJ. But again, being a non-shooter makes that tough. But defensively, I think he could work next to VJ. Because like I said, I think the engagement level and the effort is there. He's just physically overmatched.
Were you expecting that name?
No, but I think it makes sense because he's one of the guys who people will actually recognize on the buyout market. I would say I would prefer him over Lonzo.
Yeah,
because
me too. Easy.
Yep.
Cole Anthony at least is a live ball handler, someone you can put in some pick and rolls, and like on those backup units, which is where he would play, you move VJ into more of a similar role as he's in with Tyrese, which is he gets to be more of the second side, closer to a pure two guard type of deal. I think Cole Anthony's probably a more natural pick and roll type partner with Bona in those minutes too. If Bona happens to be on the floor, get him some lobs and easy baskets, and then the vertical gravity that Bona creates, maybe Anthony can create some open threes for people. It's probably not where I would go first, but if you're just looking for someone who's going to eat innings, so to speak, at the end of a regular season, I would much rather have him than Lonzo Ball because I don't want any of these guards playing in the playoffs. If one of these guys plays in the playoffs in the backcourt, something has gone horribly wrong. But if the goal is just to get to late March, early April and be an emergency guy in the event that they have injuries, take workload off of Maxey, VJ, Grimes, then I prefer Anthony over Alonzo, who I just think has been awful. At least there's a skill set here that they could make use of.
No, and Solomon brings up a good point in the chat. Like, Kyle's right. I don't want him playing in the playoffs, but I also don't want Maxey playing 44 minutes per night. Just try to keep your seeding in the regular season.
Yep.
And I think he could help a little bit.
C. David is asking about Delano Blanton. I think he just signed with somebody on the 10-day. I can't remember the team, but I know he just signed with someone on the 10-day. So right now he's out. Delano Banton, formerly of the Toronto Raptors and some other teams as well. So I thought that Cole Anthony would be an interesting one to get the guys' thoughts on. So he would be high on my list too for those reasons that they brought up. All right, here's my like sleeper.
Oh boy.
He's 6'6". He's an Allentown native.
Okay.
Not that matters.
No, pride and joy of Allentown. We don't got many in NBA.
How about it, Bree? Let's throw him up there. Tyrese Martin, 6'6", has played a lot with the Nets. So, of course, not winning basketball, but 6'6", 7 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, shooting right around under 34% in 19 minutes a night for the Brooklyn Nets. So we're talking about just eating up some innings, good size, can play a wing position, can handle the ball enough, and he is just a teammate. He is a guy that's not going to require a lot of anything from anybody. He's not going to complain. He's been with them his entire career. Yeah. So I don't think he would, complain about a situation where you're looking at an opportunity to play. So Tyrese Martin.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased because I'm from Allentown. Bring him in. Bring him in.
I would give that real consideration at 6'6".
I think anyone who has
And he's healthy. When we talk about
theoretical
health,
size and a couple of skills offensively, like the fact that you can put the ball in his hands and it's not a total disaster, it fits with the idea of, all right, if they're, I don't really want them to bring in a guard compared to the other options, but I do agree with people that they have to find sources of creative ability. And so he is not the worst guy in the world. I'm just glad it wasn't a Simo the Savage mention. I was half expecting you to drop the anvil on my head like Wile E. Coyote at the end of the show and make my head explode. So in that sense, yeah, I'm interested, but obviously I think a couple of the guys, Highsmith, for example, would be higher on the list for me.
But I would give that real consideration just because why not? You know, why not?
He's kind of in the Cole Anthony tier. A little taller, so a little easier to play defensively next to others, but similar in that the streaky outside shot holds him back a little bit. But I'm not against that at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I saw somebody mention Dario Saric. Unfortunately, and it pains me to say this, Dario's cooked.
Boy, he's arguably he's been cooked for years at this point.
He's completely done.
Credit to him that he's still in the league at this point.
If you're bringing him in, just realize it's only for the locker room vibes, and that's it.
Actually, blind guess. What do you think Dario only has played 5 games? He's playing most of his minutes at center, keep in mind. What is he shooting from the field in those 5 games?
32%.
Blind guess.
27.
16.7% from the field this year.
I was close.
Now, granted, that's on like how many shot attempts? I'll look. 6 shots, so it's 1 for 6.
Well, but what do you
Not
shoot?
like that matters.
What did you shoot last year?
That was 30-something, I believe. 36.2%.
Okay, that's
Again,
not-
he played 16 games, and then I think he got hurt and whatever. So,
Yeah.
Dario is not a 4 at this point either, is the other thing. For anyone who hasn't paid
He can't move.
attention to him in a while, he has not played power forward minutes consistently in probably 3 or 4 years.
It's okay to laugh says, I missed it. I lost it. It's okay to laugh brought up a player. Josh Minot. He was traded, but he hasn't been waived or released. So
And neither has Cole Anthony, I don't think, but the expectation based on reports locally in Phoenix is
Most
that
of
he's
these
going to get
players
bought
haven't
out.
yet been
a lot of these are, we expect them to be bought out,
And
not
again,
that they are bought out.
The rule is to be playoff eligible, they have to be waived by March 1st.
And if Minot was available, I'd have no problem having a discussion about him either.
One of the
Also,
better shooters on this list.
We didn't bring him up, and I don't know what Portland's going to do with him. Thibault is the name that people are talking about in the chat. Level of interest in him if he were to get bought out.
Also, an injury thing that has kept
he
him
is
out.
I think he
all
either
season.
hasn't played or has barely
He barely
played.
played. I think he tried to come back once and immediately got hurt again.
I don't remember exactly how many games, but it's a very small number. 4 games this year.
I always think somebody with right knee tendinopathy is the guy that we should target.
Yeah. Yay, nay.
Get the mural back up, man.
Oh, yeah. At Garage Fishtown, man. Get that back
Get the
up.
mural back up.
Who's there now? Is it one of the Phillies that they
think
painted
so.
over him with? Was it like
Yeah.
Alec Boehm or something like that?
Stott.
Stott?
I want to
Okay.
say Stott. I would choose some of these other players over Thibault just because of the health.
Yeah, if Thibault was healthy.
If he was
and look,
healthy,
I think we all sort of weren't necessarily Thibault's biggest defenders here because Thibault had some very strong defenders when he was here. Kyle and I certainly weren't on that end. Like he couldn't dribble, and that's kind of a big part of basketball. His defense can be overrated a bit, but if he was healthy, I would have interest. Sure, he can't get on the court.
Yeah.
He also would make more sense than a lot of these guys in Nurse's specific defensive scheme
Switch.
100%.
that just prioritizes, we're going to overhelp, we're going to cheat for steals and turnovers. And so, if you're looking for a player and system fit, you could argue he's the best defensive fit of anybody that could be theoretically available. But the offense is the problem, and the health adds another layer on top of that.
All right, we're going to overtime, and that's where the stretch will be, presented by Rothman. Everybody on the television side, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 o'clock pregame, Sixers-Knicks final game before the All-Star break. If you want to hang out and continue to hear your name called on roll call, get some news and notes and the stretch right here at allphly.com. Let's get to the stretch. here, presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to make your appointment today. The Stretch. Got one game before the break, and that is on Wednesday night at home. Game 4 against the New York Knicks. This will decide where the series goes. Tiebreaker 2-2, or are the Sixers going to be a 3-1 series winner for the regular season after tomorrow night? After the All-Star break on the 19th, back at home against the Atlanta Hawks, the new look Hawks with all of the moves that they have made. It's Jalen Johnson's team, and they have a lot of different players on that squad. So that's the Hawks. You see that. 3 home games in total, but after the break, 2 of the 6 at home, starting with a 3-game trip. Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Pacers, all on the road, a 3-game road trip. Back home on Thursday to take on the Miami Heat, who you're trying to stiff arm and give the Heisman to keep them away from you in the standings. And then on Sunday, this is the final one, right? The Boston Celtics, the final one on that Sunday. That's a big game against the Celtics because it is 2-1 in favor of the Celtics now after the Sixers won the opener. 2-1 in favor.
It's 2-1 in favor of this. The only loss that the Sixers had was the NBA Cup game.
Okay.
Sixers are up in the season series.
It's 2-1 in favor of the Sixers. Okay.
Yeah. There were 3 final minute type games.
I remember them losing by like 4 points or something like that in that one. Okay. Kyle's got me on that one.
I'm going to make sure, but unless I mind melded another game, I'm almost positive the Sixers are. Yeah. They won the opener. They lost the NBA Cup game, and then November 11th, they played again, and the Sixers won 102-100.
Okay. All right. So 2-1 Sixers in that one.
And by the way, guess how many points the Sixers lost the third quarter by in the final or the third game that they played this year?
25.
16. A nice third quarter compared to the one we saw last night. So
Progress. That was 27 points they lost that one by?
Progress.
But to your point, very close games through all 3 games so far. And they played a version of the Celtics that had not quite figured it out yet. Jaylen Brown wasn't playing quite as well. They did not know who they were going to be as a group quite yet. I don't know what Derek is laughing at, but I just
checked their third quarter net rating.
It's the second worst of all time.
Negative 18.1.
Unbelievable.
So here's what I would say. I'm focused less on the bigger stretch here, more on the final game going into the All-Star break. It is always, every single year, the most impossible to predict game because you have no idea where anyone's head is at. A lot of guys are focused on whether it's Cancun, the Caribbean, wherever vacation that they're going to be going on. I believe the Knicks are on a back-to-back.
They play the Pacers tonight.
So they'll be on a back-to-back on Wednesday against the Sixers. So they're already at a rest disadvantage, and you factor in all the guys who are thinking about, man, I just want to get out of here. I need a week off to reset my body.
That was part of our point last night at the getaway game of staying focused. And it's not just the getaway game. It's often the first game back from a long trip. So all of that with what you just said, plus coming back from this long trip, this is a big game, and it's the tiebreaker.
Yes. So
Sixers lead 2-1.
It's an important game. If you think the Sixers can make a move in the standings and get close to the Knicks, and there's not a ton of separation from 2 through 6 or so between all these teams, this is a big one tomorrow night. I just don't know on either side of it how motivated either team is going to be. I brought this. We had a little bit of a discussion in the Discord about this earlier, but this is a part of the season where you'd be better off just going out and flipping a coin and saying, this is how I think the game is going to go. We should know on both sides exactly how prepared they are to get on a flight to go somewhere else by like the middle of the first quarter. If they're both motivated, it should be a great game, but it could very well turn into a blowout in either direction. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm very curious how this game starts against the Knicks on Wednesday.
To Kyle's point, the Sixers are right now 4 games back of the Knicks, who occupy the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference, tied with the Boston Celtics. Both teams have a 4-point lead over the Sixers. They are 1.5 games back of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are in 4th, and the Raptors hold the 5th seed 1.5 games up on the Sixers. Sixers have a 1.5 game lead over the Orlando Magic, who are in 7th place. Tonight, it's the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Those are the only 2 Eastern Conference teams that matter that play tonight.
And that will help the Sixers because the Knicks will be on the tail end of a back-to-back heading into an All-Star break. So they could be looking past this game. And Eugene in the chat wondering who Devon will be rooting for. Well, he will be at the game, and you can figure out why.
I'm rooting for 25.
Breaking bread with the enemy.
I'm rooting for 25.
Sticking Derek and I in the studio to talk about the game while he gallivants around Philadelphia with all the Knicks fans down at the arena tomorrow
I won't
night.
be wearing blue and orange. So there you go. If that
Not
helps.
even his jersey? No?
Nah, I don't wear his jersey to the games. Nah, I just, it's whatever. Yeah. So that's that. All right, let's get to the news and notes. That was The Stretch presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more. All right, news and notes. We'll stay with mindset and fatigue when it comes to the team and all, because, Bree, let's start off with Tyrese Maxey and the news that we have not talked about, which is he's not going to get a lot of rest because, as we predicted, he's going to get an offer to participate in the three-point contest, and there's no way he can say no. Well, he could, but he wasn't, and he is part of the field. Tyrese Maxey participating in the three-point contest along with a bunch of guys here: Devin Booker, Con Knipple, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis, Norm Powell, and the surprise of them all, Damian Lillard, who we will talk
participate
about.
in the three-point contest, not play a game.
Got to defend the crown, I guess, right? But he didn't. He won in 23 and 24. He didn't win in. Yeah, so that is technically.
They're going to put him out there on like a motorized scooter? Is that the move here?
So he did that in the playoffs. So he's got about a good 9 months of rehab. So he can do that, run from rack to rack to rack in decent enough time. The Rothman expert here that I am with the Achilles. But Tyrese Maxey not getting a lot of rest. All-Star game and three-point competition. It's good for him, but man, you better get some rest when you're off after this All-Star game on Sunday.
Yeah, I will not be watching. So good luck, Tyrese. That's what I have to say.
Yeah,
not watching the game or the three-point
I'm not
shootout?
watching any of it.
Okay.
I am so checked out on All-Star at this point.
There's a higher chance I will watch a three-point contest in the game.
I will watch the three-point contest to see what he does. I will watch that. I am glad that he's not participating in the skills challenge where he's overtaxing himself and doing all this stuff.
I don't have the nerve to look my lady in the eye and say, honey, it's Valentine's Day. It's Saturday. The Sixers don't have a game. But I'm
Tyrese
still working
some basketballs.
because Tyrese Maxey is going to participate in a three-point shooting contest.
Fair enough.
It ain't happening.
Fair enough. Not mad at you for that one bit. That's Tyrese Maxey. Let's get to some All-Star replacements as well, because Joel Embiid, many people were wondering if he was going to be an injury replacement for Giannis, which did not happen. People were upset about that. Bree, let's just run them. Let's just run the All-Star replacements. Number one, you got Brandon Ingram, the latest.
Come on, bro.
Who's taken over for Steph Curry, and he is now the injury replacement for the All-Star game as selected by the commissioner, Adam Silver. In the world, you have Alperen Şengün, the All-Star replacement for Giannis, for the injury replacement for was it Alperen? They've had so many of these. I thought
it was Şengün for Shea.
Yes, you're right.
And then
Alperen
who was
Şengün for
before
Shea,
that?
and before that it was.
God, this is how checked out I am on All-Star.
I think it was simply moving Towns over to the world.
It was Kawhi was the other replacement.
And moving Towns to the world, Kawhi replaces Karl Anthony Towns as the injury replacement.
So
no Joel Embiid, everybody.
I see what Adam Silver is doing. He's given the games played participation trophies out because it's his only way, despite all the other mechanisms they put in to care about games played, to actually reward guys. When you have all these guys who just like are materially worse than Joel Embiid getting these All-Star nods, all you can look to is they played more games.
Played.
It's all it is.
It's
and
a game played criteria unless your name's LeBron, in which case it doesn't matter.
well, in that case, it's like whatever. I'm not getting mad about LeBron being in the All-Star game.
No, I'm getting mad about Joel not being in the All-Star game.
It's
those are your injury All-Star replacements for the World and USA.
And everybody bringing up the rest. Like, first of all, like when Joel doesn't play basketball for 2 weeks, you don't usually get the best version of Joel after that. And second of all, it's 15 minutes in a game. Nobody's trying. Like, it's not. Honestly, the tiring part of the All-Star is all the commitments you have when you go to it, not the game, not the 3-point shootout, none of that.
I'm so over the whole exercise. Like the USA versus world is going to save it now. Having a round robin tournament. Yeah. You can't change the fact that none of these guys care about it. And I don't think there is a way other than if Wemby goes out there and just decides he's like going to kick somebody in the stomach in the middle of the game and start a fight. Like he seems to be the one guy right now who's vocally like, I want to bring competitiveness to the All-Star game.
So bet him for the MVP, everybody.
So put some real pride into this game and maybe that makes a difference. But I've seen it too many times in a row at this point that these guys are. The other thing too is like, I think it has also turned into more of a launch threes game. Oh, yeah. And that is just fundamentally uninteresting to me.
From the farthest back.
Yeah, like it's not basketball at that point. And for the people who want to watch a trick shot competition, that's great. It isn't me. Meanwhile, we have teams that are actively throwing games in the middle of a game, and they've put in all these competitive measures to make sure that teams are actually competing night to night. They flattened the lottery odds. They did all these. And guess what? The Utah Jazz are playing guys for 3 quarters. And if it's they did win last night while actively trying to lose the game, which is funny.
He wasn't going for it, Bryce.
It's like, I don't know, man. They're a bigger fish to fry with the league. So I can't be bothered to care about it at this point.
So you might as well show them the slam dunk participants too there, Bree, because that's also still happening. For the All-Star game. Here's the field. Carter Bryant, Jackson Hayes, Keyshawn Johnson, and Jace Richardson.
Come on, dog.
That's the field for the 2026 Slam Dunk competition. I'm not watching that.
I love my guy, Jace Richardson. He is strictly in this event to put on his dad's jersey and do a dunk. Somebody posted his in-game dunk reel from this season, and when you talk about rim grazer package in 2K, it is the quintessential rim grazer.
His dad is going to throw him a lob. He's going to wear his dad's jersey.
Come on.
And that's going to be the appeal of it all. Yeah.
Come on, dude.
No.
This is why I've been in the locker room giving VJ so much shit for not doing the dunk contest. I'm like, you got to make this watchable for us, buddy. Like, and he's like, yo, Carter Bryant's my dog. I'm going to root for him, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, I guess that's who VJ's rooting for, but had a lot of off-the-record conversations with VJ about this, and he knows this. I'm very disappointed that he's not participating. He'll be there. He could have done it. Thumbs down on VJ sitting out the dunk
I thought he was going to do it. When he said he wasn't going to do it when you guys had the video, I was like, nah, he's too competitive. He'll do it. He wants to be on that series.
He's been adamant that he's not going to do it.
But I wasn't there. I wasn't in there. I was only saying, he's playing coy. They haven't announced it yet. He's going to do it. VJ, it's your thing, and I'm not, I'm not watching thing?
That. What am I going to do? Jump over a car?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, go out there and jump over a Kia, bro. That
one I won't be watching. No slam dunk contest for me. So
the players have to care about it, dude. Like they just don't.
That stinks.
Nobody wants it. Really, this is where I do feel like a really old man, where I'm like, none of them have pride in the dunk contest. It's like they don't want to get embarrassed. None of the big names want to go out there and potentially lose to like Mac McClung or whoever. Exactly. It's like, oh my God,
Who's
lost.
Not even in it.
But I'm saying, like in theory,
he's actually playing NBA basketball.
The reason that
year.
they're not doing it is because they don't want to lose to some guy that they see as beneath them. It's like, go compete because it's a fun thing to do, to go out and compete. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for news and notes, everybody. Good stuff. Good conversation today as we hung out with you all discussing the buyout candidates and so much more here on this Tuesday. Back tomorrow, 7 o'clock for the pregame show. Sixers-Knicks, final game of the first half of the season, which is game number 54 of the campaign and it's the first half of the season before the All-Star break. Let's do it. It's time for the world famous. It's the roll call.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today, especially after we just talked to a few of you at, 1:30 in the morning last night. Pretty quick turnaround for all of us. Thank you for being here. It's okay to laugh. I'm laughing at that damn dunk contest lineup, I'll tell you that.
Brutal.
Thank you to Phil W., to AA Ron, Andrew Sharp, 3-time Jersey guy,
Jersey.
Arizona Ron Ed
A.
Wright, Fish, Cyber Yeti. There was another word in there, but I was scrolling by quickly. So Cyber Yeti is where we're at.
What up, Cyber Yeti?
Thank you to, I must have written this. Is there a Lil Mike man in
Yes,
the house?
I saw Lil Mike
Okay,
man.
I'm making sure I didn't write
Yeah.
that down. It wasn't a smoggy situation. Thank you to SB Cole,
Mike.
Eden the Remix, Jay of the Jungle, Eugene Ross, our guy Schoolboy, the #1 Khris Middleton fan in the chat today.
We're with
Thank you
you,
to
man.
Schoolboy for the super chat. Music Lover, by the way, said Iggy was robbed. A few other Iggy was robbed in the chat.
You are
Boy,
not
that's
kidding.
still one of the absolute worst crimes against the dunk
Allen
contest.
Iverson made a perfect pass. You get points for that.
Come
alone.
on, man. Nate Robinson getting like 17 attempts to finish his dunk, and then he gets a 50. Thumbs down. That's still one of the biggest crimes in the history of judged events.
Also, Iguodala's was just more creative. It was something we hadn't seen before.
Thank you to Mom's Grandchildren. Thank you to my girl Nona, to Jess, to Val. Thank you to Maple1660. Thank you to Alex Perry, Remo K, Tom Jackson,
Tommy.
Rolex, Kyle Wright, Deck Inc., Smoggy, a.k.a. Smy Guy. Thank you to Eugene, Solomon, Booby Styles, the Court Jester. Thank you to Rick Morse, Dominique
Ricky.
Brown, D Flyers. Thank you to all our wonderful people for being here with us today. On the way out, if you could, hit the thumbs up button. It makes me feel good. It helps these guys sleep at night. It helps out the channel.
We're
It's
tired.
also a big thank you to super producer Bree. So give me a thumbs up. It takes just a moment of your time, and it helps us out quite a bit. And then hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. We will be back tomorrow night for Sixers Knicks pregame and postgame. It'll be Derek and I, a rare combination.
Roy will be here.
Oh, Roy's here too. I didn't know that. We have a 3-man. Nobody informed me. Well, maybe you'll see who's going to be in here in the studio tomorrow night. I don't actually know because nobody tells me anything around here. But be here for pregame and postgame. Devon will definitely be at the arena. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.